Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host, right over here.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you guys again. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to this pod.
What's up, guys? My name's Karkast on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for having me on. It's an honor. It's a pleasure.
Everyone, throw out what they're excited for about training camp. Like, what's your main stories that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll into it.
Yup, let's do it.
Hey, you want to start, Carcast?
Sure. Training camp, man. The quarterback, Brock Purdy, coming back. Finally, off the pup list. Is activated. Got his surgery done and is finally ready to go, be active, which is crazy because I thought this was super early. Looking back at the timeline, I thought he was gonna miss a couple of the preseason games, miss a lot of training camp, and miss, you know, believe it or not, some of the regular season games. And I thought Trey was gonna be the guy, but now Brock Purdy's back. I'm kind of excited to see what he can bring to the table after the surgery, because Tommy John surgery is nothing to mess around with. It's a super serious injury. A lot of quarterbacks either they come out with more arm strength, come out with less arm strength. It happens to Nick Mullins. I think it was 2020 that season. Now with Brock Purdy, so Trey's gonna have some competition, man. But I think Trey's gonna live up to the task. Been working out and working his butt off this off season with Patrick Mahomes, Jimmy G's QB coach, Jeff Christensen. So I'm excited to see what those two can bring. But I'm definitely rooting for Purdy to obviously heal up and come back. But at the same time, it's kind of weird, kind of scary to see like maybe we rushed him a bit too early. Maybe he should have taken a bit more time off, but we'll see, man. Shanahan's saying, he's up to par, he's healthy, he's ready to go, he can throw. So it's going to be exciting. The quarterbacks are definitely going to be exciting to watch throughout this training camp. So yeah.
Hell yeah. Are you kind of I know I'm a little like skeptical like of bringing him back so early. Like, do you
Yeah.
almost want to see what Trey Lance could do for a game or two, or are you kind of like, no, let's just throw Brock in there, he's the guy?
I, I'm a real Trey Lance guy, man. 3 first round picks and a third. I respect people's opinions. Brock Purdy obviously had a nice run, went undefeated in the 9 games, not including the playoffs. Played phenomenally. Um, he can make off schedule plays. A 7th round pick, last pick in the draft, and that's a Cinderella story. Like he took us all the way to the NFC Championship game. And I get it, we had weapons around him, but man, that man did a lot. We were putting up 30, 35 points plus a game. I get it. I'm used to the logic. It's a small sample size. We did it with Jimmy in 2017. He had a 5 game stretch. We won all of them, and we jumped on the Jimmy train. And then ever since then, he hasn't played a full season for the Niners and just had the ACL. Wasn't the same Jimmy after that. So personally, I want to see Trey Lance there. But if Brock comes in there, beats out Trey Lance fair and square, well, what else can you ask for? He's obviously going to get the job. He's going to do his thing. He showed us what he can do. It's the surgery, man. It's the injury. I don't know if he's going to look the same because before the injury, man, that dude looked like a superstar in the backfield. He was running around, making throws, running the ball. Man, he looked like a mini Russell Wilson. That's what I compare him to. I don't usually compare players with one year sample size with like a 9 game stretch, but man, that dude was shocking the NFL. And there's another reason the NFL, defenses they can come up to par and see they could really understand Purdy's game and kind of lock him down as well since they already got a good stretch, good sample size out of him. So that's going to be something to look at. But if Purdy does beat out Trey Lance, it is what it is. He gets the job. But personally, I'm a huge Trey Lance guy, so I want to see Trey Lance there because he's got a lot to show in the NFL, and he's only played 4 games in 3 years. So that's just me personally. So
Yeah, I know. D over here is just sending me a pic of Brock Purdy saying he looks beefy this training camp.
yeah.
Dude,
So
he does. He looks pretty built. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
good to see. I think, yeah, it is a little scary if you go back and look at the injury. You look at the history of the guys that have coming off that injury. I think the one that you mentioned was Nick Mullins, who got the what is it?
Yep.
Was it the implant? What is it? Sleeve?
the
What is
stint,
a stint? Yeah, in
splint,
his
Yep.
something.
something like that in his elbow. He's the only other NFL quarterback that was to get that surgery, and his arm actually got stronger. So
Yep.
maybe that happens here. But you look at what the Packers are doing, where they're saying we don't even know what we have with Jordan Love. And Jordan Love's been there for what, 3 years now?
Hmm.
Mhm.
And they still don't know. They said, "Hey, we're going to have at least half the season to evaluate what Jordan Love can really do." So maybe you do just. I would still like. I don't think Brock really threw today. So
Yeah.
I would just have Trey and Sam Darnold really battle it out in training camp. Maybe you'd take a spin
Yeah, I
because
believe
you
Trey.
just can't really mess with that.
I
It's a
think Trey
permanent
took
injury.
he took the first snaps with the starters today. So
Yeah, so I mean, you gotta let him show like you gave up too much draft capital. You gotta at least spin the tires on it. At least when you do the joint practices with the Raiders coming up, who could potentially be a trade partner if things don't work out with Jimmy G, but it looks like he got cleared and things are looking up. But just different things. So I'm excited for it. I think once Brock does either win the starting job or something happens and he ends up in the spot again, he's gonna, really capitalize on it. And he does look beefy. Another guy who looks beefy, my number one storyline is the wide receivers. So I'm absolutely pumped about it. Brandon Aiyuk going in and was saying everybody in a white jersey, it's FU.
Yup.
Deebo Samuel looking cut, sending uh, Kyle Shanahan more shirtless pics than Kyle Shanahan has ever seen in his
yeah, I'd
life.
like to see that text chain.
It's just, oh,
Yup.
cool. Shirtless pic. Cool. Shirtless pics.
Yup.
So that's
Exactly.
the one thing I'm excited for. And people were really hyping up Brandon Ayuk this offseason, saying that he's going to make a monumental leap. I know Deebo Samuel was super disappointed in the season that he put forward last year. I think he's going to be a man possessed. I think we're going to see a true wide receiver one with Deebo Samuel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the wide receiver room. I mean, every offensive skill position is looking
Stacked.
stacked for us. But how are you feeling, Carcast, about like the running back room, the wide receiver room, maybe the tight ends, anything like standing out?
Oh yeah. You brought up the linebacker, man. I love the linebackers on our team. We've had one of the most stacked linebacking cores in the NFL with Fred Warner for years now. Dre Greenlaw obviously had that groin injury, I think 2 years ago. He's been a little bit injury prone, but man, those two guys on the football field together at the same time, our linebackers have been stacked. And just the third linebacker I've been really kind of looking at who could it be. Either it's Marcelino McCrary Ball, Oren Burks. He's a good special teams guy. Maybe he could step in. Maybe I've been saying maybe Tano Ufunga comes in and maybe plays that third linebacker role, kind of comes into the box and plays that Jimmy Ward role since he's kind of our bigger safety on the back end. But man, the wide receivers, D brought up the wide receivers, man. These dudes scare me. And I saw Debo's hard on himself. You saw what he said at the press conference. He said he played like trash to the media straight up. And I respect him for it because he didn't play that bad. It was just a huge ride last season. He was a bit injured. I think uh, not last year. I think the year before that. He's been a little bit injured. He didn't play like complete trash, but man, the year he had 2 years ago, 2020 season, man, he balled out. He was in the Cooper Cup stance. It was him and Cooper Cup battling out to be the number one wide receiver that year with the Justin Jefferson, which is crazy. So Debo, he's obviously lost some weight, so that could kind of help him. Brandon Ayuk, 1K receiver last year. Dude, he made an insane catch in the corner of the football field today. He went up and got that. That was the one time. You've seen Brandon Ayuk hurdle and jump and make these acrobatic catches just up in the air. He'll put his body on the line if he needs to. And he went up there and snagged that ball from Trey Lance. And Trey Lance put that ball in where Ayuk could get it right at the top of his helmet. I forgot who the DB was, but dude, this man Ayuk, he's not playing like he's in his third year. This dude looks like he's playing like a veteran. He's showing a lot of confidence. So, dude, these wide receivers are definitely going to show out next year. So I'm excited, definitely.
Yeah, the Brandon Ayuk hype, it's real, and I think he's gonna live up to it. It's crazy. Like I saw like a 2-3 minute highlight reel today on
Yeah.
Twitter of Ayuk and Debo,
Hmm.
and they're just going off. And I was like, what's crazy to me is there's 3 different quarterbacks throwing these guys the ball. And
Right.
normally when you see highlights like that where it's a bunch of different quarterbacks, it's on a bad team and they're just eating up like garbage time yards. But this was
Right.
a great team with 3 different quarterbacks last year. So if we could get some stability in that area, like, imagine how far these guys can go.